Shalom, shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ. Happy Sabbath.
Shalom, happy Sabbath. Running with country band. Country band, that long.
All right, y'all. We begin shortly. Shalom, 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 Most High in Christ. I'm your host with the most, Commander Judea, here at One Nation Israelite School. And I got my peoples with me.
Shalom. Shalom, shalom.
Nation Israelite. All righty, so shalom and happy Sabbath. We're at the end of the Sabbath classes here. And I already talked to y'all about this, so don't be surprised because it's nothing. Nothing. Anywho, today's class doesn't have a title because there is no class. Just plain and simple. So we're gonna roll, I guess, with the spirit for a minute. All right. I'm looking for a start point. St. Corinthians 13:5. We're gonna deal with a couple of things. I'll just figure out as we go. 2 Corinthians 13:5, please.
2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves.
Key right there. When we come in, when we open up this book, when we start at that 5th verse of the 13th chapter of 2 Corinthians, the scripture tells you, examine yourselves. It's the first thing it tells you to do. Because in this walk, as we know, this isn't a sprint medley.
Right.
This ain't a short distance. This is a race about endurance. How long, what pace can you and when you're racing in the mile, yeah, it's a long race, but you still got to have a healthy pace to win the race.
Right.
Then this truth, it is a long race until the end. It's a race of endurance, and in that you still got to have a moderate pace to get the job done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, you can't be slothful in the works of the Most High. But let's focus real quick. It says examine yourselves, right? Examine you. The reason why I'm harping heavy on the examine part, because every last one of us should know us. You should know the trials, the tribulations, that particular demon, the particular vices, the particular sin, or whatever it is you dabbled in, and you just ain't came forth with it. Examine you. Read it again.
Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, how that Christ is in you?
All right, read it again, Salakia.
Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves?
So when it says know ye not your own selves, it says know ye not, you don't know you? You don't know you?
Right.
So examine yourself, examine you, because you should by default know who you are.
Right.
And therefore you know your particular vices, your particular demons. You know what we may not know off the surface of you. You know it. And the Most High knows it. So with that, now you got to ask yourself, knowing you. And when I say knowing you, don't just think about on the aspects I'm speaking of, but to another degree. Like, you know you to even the person that lays next to you at night doesn't know this part about you that you know.
Right.
Or this thought that's running through you that they don't know. And examine, okay, is those thoughts and those things that's rolling through you, the things that they don't know about you, are they accurate? Are they, when I say accurate, are they right according to the Most High, or is it only right to you? And when I say examine that, the reason why I'm saying is because most of the things that's within you, why nobody else, the particular things I'm talking about today, why nobody else seems to know it, Why nobody else knows it? Because it's you.
Right.
In other words, what ain't been exposed to them, they don't know, right? So you know you, and you know everything about you. Now, with that being said, ask yourself: is whatever it is that you got that we don't know, is it right? Is it right? And the reason why I say that, because in your case, hold on, y'all. Okay, what the hell was that about? So, now with you knowing these things that's inside of you, and you knowing you, and you're gonna examine if the things that are inside of you are right or wrong, or are they only right to you. The reason why I was harping on it so much, because oftentimes people say, I don't know why this is happening, or I don't know why this, or I'm going through this and I know it's me, but I don't know how to fix it. All those types of things. Or you got some who will lie to themselves, right, and say there's nothing. Right. There's nothing. I'm good. It's perfect. It's nothing. Or they don't realize. Let's put it like this: you allow yourself to the point where other people start pointing it out for you, right, and you'll act as if you don't realize what everybody else is seeing. Right. When in fact you should know you. Mark 7:21.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 21.
But hold it. Get me. We'll go ahead and get this first.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 21. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceed evil thoughts.
So that's what we want. It says from within, from the heart of a man, meaning from the mind of a man, proceeded evil thoughts. Your heart is desperately evil and desperately wicked. Your mind is wicked as hell. Yeah. And if you put trust in your own mind, your own heart, then you can believe you're going to do desperate and wicked and evil things. We're going to come back. Give me Jeremiah 17:9, and then we roll back here.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?
Who can know it? Here's the problem. You examine yourself. The reason I told you to examine yourself, because only you know certain things about you. And I say those certain things about you that only you know. The reason why I'm attacking that, because you know what? Most of the issues that spring up and within you, within communication with other people, relationship, whatever, it's always that stuff that you know about you that everybody else doesn't know. So now what I want you to do is look into that box and see, well, it's the stuff that I only know about, right? And the chances are you're going to come to find out that because it's all coming from within you, your own thoughts, the way that you, I don't want to give it away, but things inside of you are evil. Right. And you trust in those things. Why? Because it's what you learned. Okay. From your experiences without dealing with the Most High, you've learned to deal with everything a certain way. So from your experiences with this person that was in the world, your experiences with this thing or this situation that was in the world, it taught you to deal with those things in these manners. And when you see certain things that's similar or close to it, you say automatically, that's that. I know because I've been through this, and from my experiences, I. You know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is, when you was dealing in the world, you was dealing with a certain spirit. Right. Now when you come to the truth, you're dealing with a totally different realm. So what you think you're dealing with right, you're just dealing with wrong, and it's all based off of your own worldly experiences. Right. Or it could be based off of, in your head, this is right. And you have to ask yourself, if in your head this is right, then is it right? Because what's in your head? Go back to Mark 7:21.
Mark chapter 7 and verse 21. For from within, out of the heart of man, proceed evil thoughts, adultery, fornication, murders, theft, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, and evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile the man.
Right. So basically, the mind of a man is evil and desperately wicked, and it will lead you to fall off. Whoever shall go after it.
Right.
You go after the thoughts of your mind or your own feelings of what you believe. Why? Because everything. I'm thinking about how to say it. Your mind is wicked, right? Okay, so now if you go after your mind, you're gonna do evil deeds because that's what your mind brings forth. Evil thoughts. It's desperately wicked, and as a fact, the way you know that your mind is wrong because your mind will. If you run after your mind, the reason you're gonna do wrong because your mind brings forth something called I feel, and I feel is such a terrible. It is such a terrible spirit to have. The I feel spirit is a selfish and wrong spirit.
Right.
Why would I say that? Because I feel is the reason why it's such a selfish spirit because I feel takes everything that's actual and logical or what's right and turn it from let's keep it off of what's right, what's actual, and what's logical and base it upon how I feel. So it takes it from what's actually there to your own point of view.
Right.
So the I feel spirit is a selfish spirit. It is a deceitful spirit that comes from where? Only within you.
Right.
Starts in the mind. A million people can be telling you you're wrong, but because I feel, which is a what? A selfish spirit, doesn't matter what everybody else says because I feel this is this. So it takes what is actual and it negates what's real, what's actual, and what's logical to one mind or one side, one track. Right. It turns everything. Y'all get what I'm saying? It turns actuality to whatever you feel.
What everybody else saying. I feel it's right, so it's right.
Right. Now, that's where you got to examine. Damn. Do I carry that spirit?
Right.
Do I have the spirit where if it's not going according to how I feel it should go, then it's not going correct?
Right.
Do I you have to basically examine that spirit on you. How do you react in situations where it's not going the way that you want? And is the way that you actually feel right? Go to remember all these sins come from where?
Within.
Go to James. James 4:1.
James chapter 4 and verse 1. James chapter 4 and verse 1. From whence come wars and fighting among you? Come they not hence?
So scripture says, from whence, meaning from where? From where come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence? Come they not from you?
Right. Even
your lusts and your wars and your members. So everything that's going on when it comes to it's the reason why I said examine yourself. When it all comes from that point of view, you have to examine you. Because from all evil wars and all fightings, they come from within you. They start in your mind and then they manifest through your actions.
Right.
They manifest through your conversations. So you have to question that little cubby hole of leaven that you got, that thing that nobody else knows about. You got to question it and see that predeterminer, what I want to call it, the thing that in your mind makes you determine what's right, what's wrong.
Right.
That's all based off of the way you was brought. If you ain't basing it dwell off the like completely off scripture, it's all raised up. It's all based off of how you was raised up and what you think.
Right.
The way that you think is based off of what? The way you was raised and your experiences in the world.
Right.
So now, once again, when it comes to situations, now you must examine, is the thing that determines what's right and what's wrong to you, is it right? Is it logical? Is it scriptural?
Right.
Or is it just I feel, which is then a what? A one-sided view. Go to, what was that at?
People like that ain't got no understanding. People like that don't have any understanding.
Right.
You can show them scripture by scripture all the time, and they always gonna hit you with the "but I feel."
And you know, one of the things about that makes it bad is because of the fact that the I feel spirit is what I feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like let's put it like this. Have you, because you know how we say one trust in his own ways.
Yeah.
When you have the I feel spirit, do you know how many friendships, marriages, relationships, walks in this truth, all that stuff been destroyed based off of I feel spirit?
True.
Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 55. You get 8, I guess.
Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord.
Right. So the Lord says, your thoughts are not my thoughts, your ways are not my ways. This is why I tell you, examine you, deal with scriptures when it comes to how you deal according to certain, well, not certain. When it comes to everything, you got to find any disagreement. The scriptures is supposed to be able to mediate.
Right.
What I want you to do is realize that whatever it is that when I say examine yourself, you know you. You got to identify whatever it is that you haven't, whatever it is, your little thing that you know about you that nobody else kind of knows is just your thing. And that thing is probably what you make 90% of your decisions with. You got to question that little thing to see if that little thing is right. Because it ain't. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither your ways, my ways. The way you would see, the way that the I feel spirit would have you to deal would be far from the way that the Most High would have you to deal, because it ain't the Most High way. It's your own particular way that you think works better for you. My ways are not your ways. My thoughts and your thoughts are not my thoughts. My thoughts are not your thoughts. Your ways are not my ways. Vice versa. Y'all get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to deal with something else too. All right, so where is it at? I'm trying to make sure. I know I wrote something down. All right, so now without, I don't know how to ask the question because I don't want y'all to give me this. Don't give me your Bible version, like. Yeah. So it's like when you get to because you know you're in the classroom, right? So you learn.
Right.
You go out and then it's time to perform those things. But in times when it happened, how often do you actually go back to the things that you learned, or do you kind of just deal with what's going on at the moment?
It'd be like in the moment type, in the spur of the moment type thing. Then afterward, then you start thinking, now I should have handled it like this. Then you start thinking like you should have handled it the biblical way.
Right. So now, the reason I asked that is because I want you to kind of see how quickly and how easily, if you examine yourself, how quickly and how easy you deviate from the way the Most High tell you to deal with every issue.
Right.
You deviate fast. Now, what's crazy is that how we can all sit here and say it, then you know what'll happen? 2 days from now, a test will come and you'll back to the way that you've been dealing with stuff. And now you gotta examine yourself. Why? Why is it that wisdom leaves you in a matter of seconds? That's one. The same theory that I'm taking y'all down is just what I'm doing. I'm finna show y'all something. The same way that you deviate from that, believe it or not, just like you get tested with dealing with the Most High, it's the same way the government tests us with our with things that happen. I know I took a kind of weird twist with it, but so remember, okay, so I'm gonna switch it over a little bit. How you got two? It's called a two-way. It's called a government two-way manipulation. All right, and I'm gonna deal with that in a second. I want to close out this little piece here. So when it comes to you examining you know your spirit, you know your demon. You know what I'm saying the scriptures told you what in Passover time, even though we didn't do a class literally named it this year. It's also a time to get rid of all the what? The leaven. You know what I'm saying leaven being translated to sin. Right. Now your own particular demon, how many of you went into your own closet this year and actually looked at it and said, damn. You know what I'm saying? How many people rush to get rid of all the yeast and leaven out of the house, but then you didn't check back in that back closet where that old man sitting at. People keep. Anywho. So Know you rule your spirit, in other words. You know what I'm saying? Rule your spirit. Now, the next part I want to go to is the two-way government manipulation. The government two-way manipulation. Like, oftentimes what happens is in a two-way government manipulation, most time it's always a test on our people to see our awareness and or our emotions. That's the two things that play on your awareness and your emotions. That's the government two-way manipulation. Now, how do they do it? They often test how aware we are. When I say how aware we are, I mean how woke we are, where we at spiritually, consciously, how much deception they need to put out, or are we still asleep? And then our emotions, they test the emotions by basically how fast something erupts, or how near and dear we hold it to us, or how fast we react to it. The two-way manipulation of the government works like this. For an example, they'll take, let's say, the R. Kelly situation, right? Now, with the R. Kelly situation, they'll say, well, here's the two, because is any of this stuff, new?
No.
No, nothing's new, right? Now, all these women, all these older adults and stuff, right, that's coming with all these confessions against R. Kelly, right? Now, according to the law, they are supposed to be sitting in jail because they're not witnesses. They aren't accomplices. Right. Why? Because they knew about the whatever situation when it was happening, if it to be true. You know what I'm saying? Now, why aren't they doing it? Why? Because why aren't they sitting in jail? Because there's something to gain from it. Now, what I mean by that, when you look into the R. Kelly situation, America wants to prove, they want to approve something. Now, it's the LGBT, and they want to add a what to it? A P for pedophilia. Right. So now, how do they set it up? They take R. Kelly, they throw him to the front, assassinate his character, put out all the stories about him sleeping with young girls and all this stuff, right? And what they do is they say, okay, will they defend him? Right. Or will they turn their back on him? Now, either way you go, it's a two-way setup. What do we mean? Well, if you turn on him, then it says, cool. Now we can hang up any of their black celebrities and they'll all turn their back on them as long as we put a couple people up to say they did it and a couple videos and make it to be true. We're going to destroy them. We will destroy them. But here's the flip side. What if you're awakened or you to the point where you don't really believe it? You don't fall for it. Yeah. If you don't defend them, we know we can do it to any one of your celebrities, any one of your kind. If you won't stand up for him, I know you ain't gonna stand up for the average Negro. Right. So if we can get him and get y'all to stand up, not to stand up behind him, then we know we can tear down every black person as big as they get. As soon as they get big and important, tear them down. We know we can do it. Why? Because it's easy to make you turn on your own people. But if you don't turn on him, then they'll say, well, LGBTP community is open now. Why? Pedophilia. Why? Because if you didn't get mad about R. Kelly getting with R. Kelly situation, then how can you be mad at pedophilia as a whole? So that's a two-way government manipulation. Why? Because the way they do it is either you're going to defend them or you're not. Right. If you don't, well, we'll tear down every black character. If you do, then you agree with pedophilia. So the reason why you see this R. Kelly thing just sprang up out of nowhere is because they are really, the agenda behind it is to what? Legalize pedophilia.
But it got the Michael Jackson thing too.
Let's go to Revelations. leaving Neverland.
They going in on that guy like that. No breaks.
Let me find it. Let me find it. Let's go to Revelations. Chapter 13. Start at verse 9.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Right. So our patience and faith of the saints is that those who led us into captivity are going to go into captivity. Those who killed us with the sword are going to be killed with the sword. Thus we know equals the so-called white man.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
Go ahead. Now the two horns as a lamb was twofold, two-pronged government, democracy, Republican. Then you got also the reason why I used himself as an attribute of a lamb to say that he was so humble, but spoke as a dragon. We know that's going into Esau.
Right.
Go ahead.
And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed.
Which is talking about Rome.
Right.
Rome was the first beast who deadly wound was healed. Remember, they got their ass whipped, and then they rose back up in the Renaissance period.
Right.
Go ahead.
And he does great wonders.
Go ahead.
So that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Bombs.
And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
Right. And the image that he made was the false image of Christ. Right. Now watch this. Now this particular demon, Esau.
Right.
What happens is they become powers, superpowers. Now we know that today America is the modern day Rome, spiritual Egypt, and the daughter of Babylon. Right.
Yeah.
So now what happens is when we get back to talking about the two-way government manipulation, right? Watch this. We're gonna go into it a little bit. Go ahead, read it again. Where you at?
I was at verse 14.
Okay, so he says they should make a beast. They should make an image to the beast which did live, which is wounded. It's talking about the Romans. What was the kid, the crocodile that they put up to betray as Christ?
Oh, Caesar Borgia.
Right. Now, what did they do with this thing? Read on.
Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast.
He had power to give life to the image of the beast. Whose life did they give this beast?
Right.
Christ's. Go ahead.
That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Right. So it says gave the image to the power. He had the power to give the image life, and that the image should both speak and cause many that will not be worshipped to be killed. Right. So now, how does this beast talk? How do they make this beast talk?
Their movies.
Through their movies,
social media,
internet. Right. So now take the same format, because we know we read later on where where it breaks it down, the unclean spirits and all those things, right? You take that and you take just this little piece here. They had the power to give this beast a life, an image, and for it to both talk, right? So now I want just hear what I'm going to take you for a second. That same method. How does the beast talk again?
Movies, internet, media.
Okay. So now that beast, that dragon is able to control all of that. That's his lines of communication.
Right.
Now, how do we? It says if you don't defend him, then we know we can destroy every black character.
Right.
What would be the forms of the method to do it?
Media.
But they same. How did they put out all these videos? Their news.
Yeah.
So the same beast, that the same tools that they use to make this beast live up under the statue of Christ, it's the same tools that they use to tear down us and also build up what? The uproar for whatever's next they want to approve.
Right.
So if I want to make pedophilia legal, then I must start where? Yeah, but remember the tactics. I must start in the medias. And how do I start there? Well, I got to put a face. First of all, for me to make something, this is what y'all got to understand. To make something that, let's say, if you don't like a law, you have to get somebody to first break the law so you can fight. So then fight the law.
Right.
So if I want to make pedophilia legal, then by default, I have to get somebody to break the law of pedophilia. Therefore, to come back and fight the law of pedophilia.
Right.
So now the beast that they want to approve or the spirit that they want to approve in the world today is pedophilia. So now they have to find what? An image to destroy to get it's steps to it. It's an image I got to get to destroy. So whose image did they use for this particular case? R. Kelly.
Right.
Now I must create a story and headlines. This is what you saw through the news, internet, radio. They use their media to create the storyline. Now, in most cases, when you look, most people agree with their message against R. Kelly.
Yeah.
So now says, well, we didn't get the uproar we was looking for. And if you realize in the midst of that same week and stuff, they bought the Chris Brown thing up.
Yeah.
With him getting arrested, saying he raped some girl, though his girlfriend in the building with him.
Right.
So it wasn't enough of an uproar with R. Kelly. So then they threw the little shot at Chris Brown that couldn't stick. So then what happens? The Michael Jackson story is coming to the forefront now. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about getting the right image to stick to this narrative so we can bring it in through this avenue.
Right.
Same thing with the government shutdown. When we was talking about that, how the government shut down every so couple of years, there's a budget that one president wants to approve something else.
Right.
And if they won't release the budget, then they'll do basically a holdout. They'll do a holdout to one of them budgets. And eventually he gets either his budget or they increase the budget. Two-way manipulation of the system. That's it. That's all you're really dealing with that situation. All right. Damn, what's up with all this? So now, what else do I want to deal with? I lost it. All right, so we'll keep on moving along then.
The two-way manipulation, because we all know manipulation is witchcraft.
Right.
So what they're doing is sprinkling witchcraft on us, try to make us fall into it, almost like a trance or a trap. Like the same thing with that voodoo stuff it'll make you a zombie. What they doing is making that zombie to their system and to their little games they're playing with it.
Because the one thing is if you agree with it or you don't, right? Now, if you agree with it, like today with homosexuality, you got some dudes that if there's a homosexual around them, they either want to leave or they want that homosexual from around them.
Right.
Then you got those are the ones that you don't agree with it. I don't like homosexuals.
Yeah.
Then you have those who will say, well, it don't matter to me as long as they don't try me.
Right.
Now, here's where you know that the government doesn't water people who think like that over. Because if you go back in the day, no straight man was okay with a homosexual being around them. The government comes and tell you they're still humans. You need to love them. Then they start making commercials and then they put videos of a gay boy getting bullied in school all his life and all that stuff. And then you know what also happens? Them who love their children a little more than the Most High, one of their kids end up being a little Swedish.
Yeah.
And now it's don't judge them. So, but that's how you can tell the watering down of the government today, because you watched the tape about 10 years ago. Yeah, niggas punch you just for being gay. Like now it's what it is a light form of acceptance.
Right. It's a new time. It's a new era. Right. It was back then.
Straight men hanging with gays.
I'm like, you know how that make you look? Oh yeah. Don't get mad when somebody think that you gay. Right. You hanging around with them. So now if I come in and be like, oh yeah, that's some gay boys. What you mad? y'all flocking together in a group. Right. It's going to how I see it. It's crazy.
So that's your government two-way manipulation in a nutshell. If they put it in front of you enough, they assume, and I wouldn't say assume, for the most part, today it seems to be pretty accurate. They put it in front of them long enough, people begin to accept it. It becomes less and less strange. All right. I ain't do the Q&A thing, so. Mine is shot. All right. No cues up in here today. I'm not sure if he was in Renaissance. I'm not sure. I don't know because it is in the time of when they fell and then rose back up again, which is a Renaissance period. But I don't know if Rome had ever fallen when he was walking.
Oh, yeah,
We know Jerusalem fell,
yeah.
but
Still not that one out. Anything at this time, I ain't gonna lie. When he first asked it to him, I'm like, dancing all you trying to come into the truth. You asking about Renaissance and all that shit. What are you trying to do with yourself? I'm gonna get myself right one day. I said, yeah, know how this gonna play. Take you 100 years for you to get closer. You ain't got that much time.
No, somebody had came up to me when I wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Had Christ on, like, image of Christ, how he would look on there. Yeah, like I don't understand why. Well, he said first y'all are hypocrites because you talk about. Um, he said you talk about white people making the image of Christ white and then posting it everywhere and stuff like that, but y'all guys doing the same thing. Yeah, he was like, y'all painting the image. Y'all don't know how he look. Same way they didn't know how they look. So I was like,
It says in the Bible how you look. How we supposed to play dumb and blind and say, yeah, you right. We don't know how you look. I told you like 3 or 4 times how Christ looked. How people love their oppressors. Why he had to go to the white man? Why you can't ask for yourself? Try to find that information for yourself.
yeah. When it comes to idiots in those type of states like that, you just be like, so now in this situation with this idiot here, okay, so why does the color matter? Well, white people made the color matter,
Right.
because, and just before I even get to that point, we are hypocrites for putting the true image up, right?
Yeah.
But why didn't anybody have an issue when it was white Jesus everywhere? But now all of a sudden that we putting the truth out, now color doesn't matter anymore. Why didn't color matter? Why did it mattered when it was white, right?
Right.
It mattered then. You know what I'm saying? Now that we're exposing the truth, now color don't matter.
Right.
So it's always a play on we are hypocrites, yet the person who set the standard is scotch free.
Right. Right.
So simply to be said, the white man made the color matter because he taught us the man. If God and if God and His Son Christ were white, we would be in trouble,
Right.
because we see the current condition that we live in now. Even though they're not white, but just the mass majority of our people believe that they are.
Right.
You're gonna always be in a second class, third class citizen. Why is it that we are hypocrites for wanting to serve a God that looks like us?
Right.
Everybody else got they look like them. Y'all could have Caesar boys here.
Right.
So stop feeding it to my people.
Right.
So with that being said, you can kiss my ass if you think I'm gonna stop seeing what the real Christ looks like.
Right.
Because at some point, my brothers got to see God in each other,
Right.
to stop killing each other.
True.
If we see each other as just niggas and just blacks and all that, we're going to continue to treat them with the respect, the mercy, and all that we should be treating each other with.
Right.
Because I done seen white dudes hit black dudes and do like, man, he don't know no better. Let him go, bro. Just don't do it to him, bro. Don't do it to him. But then his brother bump into him going in the store. He's like, man, swing on that nigga, bro. Nigga charge you like you a hoe.
Yeah.
Now, why is it that you had mercy for the white man, but yet swing and whoop this nigga?
I hate for him.
Why? Because when you believe God is white, they deserve the most upright respect, mercy that you can give. When you see him just as another nigga, he's just another nigga. His life don't have a value, but his God will love you a little bit more if you spare his.
Which is crazy. Our people have a problem with colorism. And what I mean by that is they have a problem with loving the color of their own people and themselves. But let you be of a lighter skin complexion. So-called fake Hispanic, them fakes want to be Israelite and Edomite. They show all their compassion to them, but when it comes to you, in the word, they ready to shoot, kill, or rob you. Don't make sense. That's that colorism. As long as you're a lighter skin, a fair complexion, that's what they like to call it. Oh, you way better than me. You know what I'm saying? You better wake up, man. Like the sister, she was like, why we try to show this, she was like, why when they read a certain scripture that say, Christ said, whosoever call on my name, at that moment it didn't mention Israel.
Hmm?
Said at the time when Christ said, whosoever call on my name, or whosoever believe in me, at that time in that area, why didn't it whosoever Israel?
Depends on whatever area she reading in. Because we know that if you read in Acts, it says ye men of Israel.
Right.
We know that in John 3:16, probably, which is where she talking about, we always have to ask them, well, why do you read verse 16 and not read at the beginning to see who he was talking to?
Right.
If you see who he's talking to, then I have to ask you, why does whosoever turn to everybody else, that's even people that's not even in the room?
Right. Yeah. Because I tried to break it down to her, I was like, right now we're sitting in front of a place called Sea World. I was like, Sea World, the whole world? No, I'm like, then you got another thing that's called Disney World. I said, those both got worlds in it, but then God, like, the world means the whole world. He told me, as long as Christ said he died for the whole world, I said, never said the whole world. It said world.
Right. Which is one of the clear distinctions, because when you go John 3:16, it says, for God so loved the world, right? He so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life, right? So there it says world.
Right.
Now, the Most High ain't stupid. He know when he means whole world. He know when he means just when the world is used, just like how you got Sea World, Disney World.
Yeah.
Well, we got world here.
Right.
Now, he didn't put a specific world here, but we know based off of context who he's talking to, what world he's talking about. Then you know Isaiah 45 tells you Israel is the world. But just to show you that the Most High has a clear mind, if he wanted to say the whole world here, he would have. When you go back to Matthew 6. No. Matthew's 26, right? When we read out Alabaster Box, go to Matthew's 26. What verse is that? 13.
13.
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 13. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world.
So now, if he meant whole world at John 3:16, why he put whole there too?
Yeah,
but you go here and it's telling you clearly, wherever you teach this throughout the whole world. So the Most High ain't stupid. If he wanted the whole world to be included in John 3:16, he'd have put whole, just like he put whole here.
All right.
That'd just be like straight, them just clear cuts to show like, okay, the Most High know what he mean when he say world versus whole world. If he's talking to the whole world, see how he put whole world here, he'd put it there too.
Right. Try to make it seem like we're gonna be condemned for what we believe in because we believe all Edomites is going into captivity.
I don't believe all of them gonna make it to captivity. So,
I don't gonna die.
but are they going into captivity? Absolutely.
Right.
Will they be worked till they don't exist anymore? Absolutely.
Right. She got extra mad when she said, "Oh, they get into heaven." I said, "Yeah, some of them gonna get in there." Through trade, I said through slavery. She lost her mother FFP now. And she got up hooping and hollering and stuff. Look at them like, said, calm down and let's try to deal with this scripture. She told me my Bible ain't real.
Yeah. Big mouth sisters, you can't get them damn women to shut up. They start yelling, that's it. And bopping that juice ass head.
Yeah. Might as well just stop right there because, like you say, they ain't gonna get no.
I just come right over there. Got you and stuff.
I know it should because she kept on trying to talk and I'm like, all right, sis, I'm done. You gonna believe that? And I'm just, see that ain't the truth. I'm like, sis, I'm talking patiently because Tasha deaf. I'm like, but I don't want to scream from this man. Don't let him like, oh my God, he really can't hear. So I told her to shut up in a very manly way. Voice. Shut up.
Yeah, the sisters like the one sister that asked about how did you know how can we tell me and my boyfriend tell who wrong when we arguing?
Yeah. So
I remember I gave a little advice before we got offline. So the sister said that, what did she say? She said that advice is not helpful because she said it's not helpful because if she bringing up other stuff, it's because it actually do happen. I said, and that's how you know that you're wrong. That's how you know that you're wrong. Because the answer was, if y'all arguing about this, the person who keeps going to this and that and all this other stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what y'all talking about now, that's the person who's wrong at that point in time. All that, oh, well, because I bring it up because he do it, that's, yeah, you wrong.
Man, we talking about this and this here, man.
So, I'm sorry that the answer that I gave wasn't helpful because you want to remember the things that he did before what y'all arguing about today. Lord's will, we can help you with a future question, but that's the best answer you're gonna get. All right. I'm out. Sayonara. Shalom.
Shalom.